Hi, this is Deborah at dinglefoot.com, and this week I have a neat technique to show you using confetti. I used a whole bunch of my leftover scrap papers that I had, and I just punched circles. You could use an office punch and some other smaller sizes if you want to mix like I have. I actually had a border punch, and I don't even know what company makes it, but it's just a bunch of circles, so I used that for my pile. Just got out all my scraps and started punching away till I had this little pile of confetti. Then I kind of looked at the colors that I had, and it looks like I have a lot of purple and green, so that gave me the rest of the colors for my project. So I found a piece of pattern paper that was green, and I'm just going to show you how to use this for making a card. But of course you could use this technique on scrapbook pages. You could make whole borders with them, or even shapes out of your confetti. So I have my paper for the front of my card, and it just covers a little more than half of the front of the card, and my card's facing this way, so I'll open like that. And I have a tape runner, and I made a little tag. I actually used a little stamp I had that said "Live Well," but of course you can use whatever you have, and I used some purple ink to kind of bring in these other colors in my punch circles. And I used two scallop shapes and tied them with a ribbon to make my tag. So this card is super simple and it's really fun. So you can use this for all sorts of occasions. And first of all, I'm just going to take my tape runner. And I'm going to add some adhesive to my paper. Just go ahead and stick that right on the front of my card. I forgot to mention too, with the confetti, you can use any type of small punch you have, even if it has different shapes on it. It doesn't matter, whatever you want to use for yours. So now I'm going to take my tape runner and I'm going to run it right down this seam where the pattern paper meets the white of my card. And I think maybe I'm just going to make it even wider. Maybe I'll just run a couple strips down there. So you can use any tape runner. You could use some double stick tape, or you could even mask off an area and use a spray adhesive so that it didn't go where you didn't want it to go. So now I'm going to take my confetti and I'm just going to sprinkle it over the top of my tape. Try to make sure it's all on there, and I'm just going to mush it down in there. Try to cover up all the sticky parts. We can go back and do this several times. Could dump some off. Maybe even kind of rub it to get the loose ones off. I'm going to go back and do this again. I just really want to make sure that there's no sticky tape being exposed anywhere. So let's push them down into the tape again. And as I said, if you have some other way to make shapes that are sticky, like hearts or any kind of shape that you want, maybe even leaves for the fall, that would be a great thing to do too, because you can just cover that shape all up with the confetti and it makes a really nice and interesting border. Okay, so I think mine's pretty good. I'm going to rub it just to make sure all the loose ones are off. And there we go. We have that really neat border on our card. It's a little bit different than the usual, so it makes a nice effect. And then all I have to do is just stick my tag on there, and I'm going to grab a Zot. Just put it on the back of my tag. Stick it on my card. And I am finished. Thanks so much for watching.